was going to do this and I wasn't going to do a video on it, but then I thought maybe somebody wants to see this. So I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But anyway, my idea for today, I've been working on the crazy quilt stuff for my grandson, and I have a whole lot of like these little scrap pieces that I have saved. And I've done a couple of other little patches that I may incorporate into his quilt in different places. This one was the first one I did. I just had this like wonky shaped piece of felt left from a different project, and I think that was from when I was making the Christmas tree Christmas ornaments that year. So I just had this like wonky shaped piece of felt, and I had all of these pieces left, and I thought, what can I do? So I just stuck them on here and started stitching away. And this one I just stuck to a running stitch on the whole thing. I did a blanket stitch around the outside, of course, but then I just stuck to a running stitch on everything else, and it turned out so cute. I was really pleased with it. A lot cuter than I actually thought it was going to begin with. And then I did this. I had these two almost identically shaped. They're a little bit different shaped, but these two little almost square pieces. So I took some of the dinosaur scraps and then some of the cow scraps. So I have the back end of a Scottish Highland cow here, and I have the black and white Jersey cow pattern here, and then I have the grass from the Scottish cows thrown in there. I think it just turned out so cute. I don't know if you can see that. And I did the feather stitch on that, and then of course I did Psalms 91 on that. And if you don't know Psalms 91 is for protection. So I did that on there, and then I did the dinosaur one with my first attempt at a spider web, and I don't think it turned out great, but I don't think it's terrible either. And then I just put some little X's over here, and then I put John 3:16, and that of course is for God so loved the world. And I left that one blank. I haven't decided if or what I'm going to put there yet, so I'm just kind of leaving that alone. But today's little thing, I actually am doing it with a purpose. It is going to hold this pen. So when it is completed, this little dry erase marker is going to fit in this pouch like so. Maybe I need to zoom out just a tad bit. Oh, wrong way. Maybe that'll be better. Okay, yeah. So this is going to hold this pen, and this pen goes to a, I told you we were going to start doing homeschool for my oldest grandson. So that pen goes to a dry erase book that does letters and numbers and animals and time, clock times, and just a whole bunch of different learning activities. So this is spiral bound. The book itself is spiral bound, but the spirals are very large, so this pen just goes straight through and doesn't stay. So I thought if I made something to go inside of that spiral to then that I could attach to the inside of that spiral, and then it would hold the pen and the pen wouldn't get lost. That was my thought process behind this. So again, I just pulled out, and this is basically the first pieces of scrap that I pulled out of the bag. Like, I just didn't hunt and peck and hem and haul over it. Like, literally, these are the first ones I pulled out, and I managed to make them fit in here. So I'm going to start sewing them down. So if you're interested in functional things, this will be a functional thing. I mean, not that quilts aren't functional. Obviously, quilts are very functional. But there's so much more you can do with stuff. So this is today's little side project, if you will. And I may actually go get my headphones because I think the sound is better when I wear my headphones. So I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. So now I have to decide on what color thread I'm going to blanket stitch this in around the edges. And again, since it's just going to be a little functional pin holder, I probably won't go too just crazy with this, but I did think it would be a fun little something to share. Hmm. Like, hmm, like both of the greens. I don't think I want black or white on there. The brown wasn't great. Hmm. Okay, so which green do we want to go with? I like them both. I don't know. Let's go with this one. Let's go with this one. I actually used this one. I was just going to use a darker green and a brown on the cow square that I did, but I ended up bringing this green in as well, and it looks so cute against um that grass that was in the cow pattern. So, be right back. Okay, we're back. And we decided on this lovely green color. So I'm just going to start blanket stitching, and do not judge me. I am not the best at a blanket stitch. Let's trim. I never can manage to start one without it looking wonky. And I don't know where I want to start with this one. Let's start down here in the corner. Hmm. And I think that's how you're supposed to start it, to get your first little loop. But if I'm doing it wrong, by all means, let me know. Because mine never stays without making that like little wonky triangle the first time. Well, that time it did. Hmm. Now it's just going to call me a liar. But anyways, normally it just goes boop and makes that wonky little triangle. But anyways, my piece of felt has this little pointed end on it. That was unintentional. I was holding the pen inside the felt as I was measuring and cutting to make sure that I got the right width and the right length so that it all was the size that it needed to be to fit the pen. And somehow or another, I ended up with this little point. I said, I'm not worried about it. That's where the fold's going to be, so it'll just be at an angle on the bottom. It's okay. I can live with it. I was not going to fuss over the shape as long as it fits the pen. I really am liking this pearl cotton for blanket stitch. That looks really good, actually. Now then, corners are tricky, and my corners never, well, I don't think they ever look like they're supposed to look. And it's a busy morning this morning, which is a great thing. not complaining. So I'll be back. Okay, we're back. Had customers, and my dad came by. Just a lot going on. So we're back to doing this. We're gonna finish this blanket stitch. Holding it like that. Maybe doing this too far apart. Maybe not. That one is. Hmm. Not sure how I managed that. Anybody read any good books lately? I just started The Dagger. I think that's the title of it. It's a new fantasy series. So far, it's really good. It's the rival factions of the Daggers and the Cloaks. Um, so you can probably guess where that's going. But so far, it's really good. I like it. The writing is good. The storytelling is good. Okay, now that the air conditioner is cut off, maybe we can get back to this. And I got it untangled and went around the square, or the corner. I'm trying to remember what I was saying before the silly air conditioner cut on. My dad came by. He needed me to fix something on his phone. Anyone with anyone of my age with parents that didn't grow up with technology, and while we didn't really grow up with technology, we were in the era of when technology was coming about. I'm Gen X, if you didn't know, and so yeah, it's interesting because he'd be like, "I need you to fix this on my phone. Get it to do this." And my mom is the same way. She'll get a new phone or get something on her phone or want something done on her phone. So they call me. Because I live the closest, not because they prefer my phone expertise. Anybody else's, I live the closest. So I'm the one that gets tagged for all the stuff. Well, and they actually prefer my husband more than me. Not quite sure why or if I should be offended, but they do actually prefer him to fix their stuff than me. But I think part of that is because I have an iPhone and they have an Android, or they both have Androids. And my stepmom has an iPhone. I think she has an iPhone. I know she has an iPad, but I'm not certain on what her phone is. Anyways, but she really prefers my husband over me. Not even sure why, but there you have it. My husband is much more preferred with phone and technology stuff than I am. But that's okay. They'll accept my help when he's not available. Dad happened to be passing by the bookstore, and decided to stop, which he also needed something printed from his phone, and I don't have a printer at my house. So he needed to stop in here anyways for that reason. I just think it's funny. Does anyone else have similar stories or situations with their parents and phones and technology in general? My grandmother, my dad's mom, that does not want to not. Let's do it this way then, since that does not want to get a knot in it. Let's see if we can do it this way. Ah, finally. So, my grandmother, my dad's mom, she's in her 80s and she's still doing very well. And we're very thankful for that. And um, but she's going deaf. She's going deaf, so she has a hearing aid. Well, she blew the speakers on her TV because she wasn't turning her TV or her hearing aid up enough for her to hear her TV. So she blew the speakers on her TV, which she couldn't figure out why she couldn't hear the TV. And so she calls my dad. My dad can't fix it. He calls my husband. My husband tells him he can't fix it. The speakers are blown. Well, he couldn't get her to understand why the speakers were blown, or what to do about it. So he just went and bought her a speaker bar and connected it to her phone. I mean, her TV, and she could hear it. She could hear it, and she was happy. Happy solution. End of the problem. So that went on. She used her using the speaker bar for several months now. And she called me. Oh, my lunch is done. She called me. No, my dad called me. The speaker bar had gone out. Um, and she didn't know why. And she went. Dad couldn't fix it. And instead of calling my husband and having him come figure out what was going on with it, she just bought a whole new TV and said, "Forget it. I'm just gonna buy a whole new TV." So she bought a whole new TV. Well, now the speakers on the TV work because this is a new TV and they're not blown. So because my husband bought the speaker bar for her and she decided she no longer needed it. It's at our house. It's just sitting waiting for when she blows the speakers on this TV and needs the speaker bar again. But it's things like that. It's things like that that kind of are funny and entertaining and interesting that go on around our house. And I'm sure we're not the only ones that have these kinds of stories from our parents and our grandparents dealing with technology when they don't really know or understand technology. I feel like some of these are really far apart and some of these are really close together. But I do think it's going to be okay. I don't think it's going to be a deal breaker or anything like that. I made a gap there between those two. Oops, I went through the wrong one. What? How did I manage that? Ah, guys. Okay, there we go. Got it fixed. Gotta decide. I think it'll be okay. I'm not going to, because again, then I'm going to sew these edges together. So I can get that back on the needle. And I didn't finish that off correctly, but I'm running out of, I had barely just cut this long enough, apparently. So I was trying to stretch it as far as I could stretch it. Now let's see if I can tie a knot in it. Well, that did not go as low as I wanted it to go. We'll go with that. Okay, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to eat my lunch, and then I'll do my seams. I'll come back and do my seams. But so far, it's looking pretty cute. We got chickens. We got the tail ends of chickens, or I don't know, minus the heads of chickens. We got some pirate themed stuff, which you can't really see any of. We got some cowboy hats. We got a piece of a cow. We got the water from one of the pirate ship things. We got the truck and hay bale from the tractor farm square. So we have a little bit of everything thrown in there in this one. So not bad, not bad. But anyway, I'm gonna go eat my lunch. We'll come back and then do the seams, and then we'll sew it together and make our little pin pouch. So, be back in a bit.